Hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and I'm here today to have a chat to you about the basics of World of Warships Blitz. A lot of people like me and many of my mates from Grump have been playing World of Warships PC for some time. I started playing that when I first heard the rumours from some of the contacts I had at Wargaming about the upcoming Blitz warships, and I wanted to get a handle on the mechanics of PC and all that kind of thing. I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot more PC videos, to be honest, the World of Warships PC. I'm a mobile gamer at heart, it seems these days, and so I'm going to run through these things and give you an idea on how you can be playing the game, some basics, some of the terminology, exactly what's happening, and give you an idea of how you can do a little bit better just straight out of the gate. Because my good mate Sham was saying in a Grump Telegram chat the other day, I don't understand what's going on with warships. Everyone just drives around and you just shoot. Don't understand what's going on. This is ridiculous. And I thought, well, bloody hell. There's a lot to learn that you don't realise you need to learn. And Warships PC is just one of the most complex kind of mechanical gameplay styles you're going to come across. And while Warships Blitz has been dumbed down a little bit for that, it's a true damage system, and there is a proper damage system. Now, just so you know, for future reference, some of the terms we're going to be using, destroyers, they're called DDs. Cruisers, you've got CAs, which are heavy cruisers, and CLs, which are light cruisers, and these are naval terms and jargon. CVs are carriers, and BBs are battleships. And today I'm driving the Kawachi, the Tier 3 Japanese BB. Good ship, good fun, I've really enjoyed it, it's been a good giggle. I haven't really got to play as much as I want to at the moment, but, you know, we're going to get there. You're going to see one of the things I do that a whole lot of people don't tend to do that I've been playing with. Like the teams are pretty potato-like at the moment, and that's fair enough because there's just a lot of people playing Blitz who've jumped all over this because they love playing their mobile games and they don't really know exactly what's going on. I actually will go backwards a bit, and I'll go backwards and forwards and sideways and around, and I try to keep the best part of my ship facing forward. Now, there's a reason for that, because you can, just like in World of Tanks Blitz and World of Warships, you can angle your armor so that it is the most effective. And the worst way to play is to be side on to other people. You want to be slightly angled to the left or right of your target. And you can see I'm actually using the island here to kind of shield me from any boats on the right while I put shots in at this South Carolina. And then I'm going to angle around a little bit and turn away because I've got this bloke in the Wakataki, the walkie-talkie, heading on through, and he wants to do me an injustice with his torpedoes. Now, torpedoes are very tough to actually get away from, and if someone decides they're just going to run up to you and torp you, there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do about that. Battleships, though, are really well equipped to deal with torpedoes in that they have a whole heap of hit points, they can take a lot of damage, and they actually have the best torpedo damage reduction. You can reduce the amount of damage you take from incoming torpedoes by just naturally having a better ship that can deal with it a lot better, and battleships have a universally better torpedo reduction. So that's a good thing. And you can see there I'm cycling between my main guns and my secondary guns to maximize the damage output that I'm putting into that bloke. And now I'm moving forward to get a hold of this South Carolina. Now the South Carolina is doing the wrong thing. I'm doing the wrong thing because I was just in a really tough moment, but I'm actually going to start trying to turn in. I want to be pointing directly at him, and I want him to be pointing directly away and broadside to me. Now, if he's broadside, that means that I get a look at a target that is enormous. That's him up top. And if I am directly onto him and angled up, then he gets a very small target to hit. Now, albeit I can't hit with all the guns at the same time, but when he shoots at me, he's going to get that angled bow, which means there's a chance of a bounce, and the shell actually has to go through a lot more armor. The effective armor thickness is a lot more. Whereas if you're shooting full broadside into someone, the flattened out armor is a lot thinner than it is when it's angled, and it's very easy to pen. So when you're side on, not only are you a larger target, like this Chester, you're also thinnest possible armor profile. And I'm going to slow that down a bit and talk to you about a couple of things. The citadels. You have citadels in this game. Citadels are basically the area underneath the smokestacks and the magazines underneath the guns, and you want to hit those. They're generally on the waterline in World of Warships PC, although I've got a sneaking suspicion that they're a little bit higher up in World of Warships Blitz. When you hit a citadel, you do a large amount of damage. And you're going to see the difference between my standard penetrations here with the AP from the Kawachi and my citadel penetration. Now you'll see the citadel when it hits, all right. You'll see that first shot's going to hit, and there's the citadel. 2,482 damage. There's another reason why you want to be driving along very, very directly at your enemy. And that's because when you go straight forward, it's very, very hard to citadel a boat through the nose. You can be citadeled with a thing called overmatch mechanics. Now, the Yamato, which is the boat that I really want to get a hold of, and I'm driving up the Japanese battleship line to get to, is famous for the ability to overmatch. What that basically means is if the caliber of the gun is 12 times, in World of Warships Blitz, is 12 times the armor thickness, then you can overmatch that armor. And for a quick hat tip, the Yamato has a 460 millimeter gun. So you divide that by 12, that gives you 38 as a round number. So say someone's got 37 millimeters of armor on their boat. Even if they're angled up, if the Yamato hits it, there is a chance that it can overpen and go straight through that armor, and doesn't matter how it's angled, it will still do full damage. But for all intents and purposes, forget about overmatching and all the sneaky stuff. What I'd like you to think about more than anything else is just keeping your boat pointing at the other guy. You can angle it slightly, like I'm angling it here, and that allows you to get more guns to bear, and then when you fire, you try to re-angle. You can see I'm reversing away. Now that will screw a lot of people up because a lot of people don't realize. Quick hat tip here, if you want to know which direction someone's going in and you can see their smokestacks, when they're going forward, the smoke is going behind them, and when they're reversing up, the smoke is obviously going forward. And all this time, all I'm doing is keeping my angles, and I'm reversing, and then I'm driving forward. So if they do start shooting at me, I'm angled up to the maximum degree. Now, I'm not worried too much about going forward here now, because the boat on my extreme right is going to have a very, very tough time hitting me because of that island on my right. This South Carolina, again, is completely broadside to me. I'm able to put shots into him effectively. They've killed the Queen Del there, and they're going to start getting stuck into me. And I'm probably over-angled here a little bit, and I've given them too much broadside. So I angle up again and start reversing. And there we go. He's sailing away. Now that's a better angle. It's not as good an angle as I'm in, but it's better than when he was completely broadside. It's still not ideal though. And you can see I'm not giving him a huge amount of boat to shoot at. And what I am giving him to has the most likely chance of actually bouncing. And that's why I'm taking shots from both these guys at the same time, and I'm not actually taking a lot of damage. At the same time, my guns are not ideally situated. And being a battleship, I do a lot less... I don't have the most accurate weapons, let's just say that. I'm not even going to get into Sigma and everything else that you're going to get into in the game. But suffice to say, I don't have the most accurate guns. When they hit, they're great, but I'm not doing a whole lot of hitting here. Not much I can do about that, but I'm also not taking a whole hell of a lot of damage. And there are multiple boats out there who want to do me wrong. You can see there different numbers on those. Then we get this bloke here in the Samson. The best way to be dealing with torpedoes is to be thin again, to be very, very narrow, because if you're broadside, you can take a whole lot of damage. But I will drop all angling and everything to get rid of a DD that's this close, because a DD or a destroyer that's really close can get off a lot of torpedoes on you, and the closer they are, the harder it is for you to actually dodge. So I'm driving and trying to keep my angles to this Samson so that if he does fire torpedoes at me, I can get very, very narrow very, very quickly, and that lets me dodge them. And it also makes it harder for him to figure out where I'm going if I alternate between going forward and going backwards. And so we managed to keep him in front of us the whole time, angle up pretty well to the boats that were around us, and still put damage in. Now, let's move along to a little bit of an overview of how I'm angling in real time. Now, you can see I've enlarged the mini-map, okay? You can see all the targets in front of me. I've picked a target, he's on my left, and I'm reversing again. And I'm alternating between the secondary guns, which are there on the right-hand side, fire HE, and my main guns. And the Tenryu is trying to push up and get to grips with me, and I'm just reversing, trading distance for damage. And I have an excellent armor profile, so even if he's hitting me from the front with HE, if he's not hitting my superstructure, it's unlikely that he's going to be doing any damage to me whatsoever. Now, one of the problems with doing this slow reverse in a battleship or a BB is if there is a carrier on the opposition team, and you can see there is a carrier there, they can quite often use that opportunity to get in and do damage to you and smash you with torpedoes. That's all there is to it. If you are dealing with incoming dive bombers, then you are far better off turning towards them and turning in circles. It makes it very, very hard for them to hit with all their bombs at the same time. That's South Carolina. You can see that's why there's a dive bomber coming in, and I started turning immediately. And my AA anti-aircraft guns are going off. Happy days. Look at the mini-map, which I've enlarged here. You'll see that I keep my bow pointing towards the targets that are visible. There's another DD there, and I immediately switch to them. I will always shoot destroyers, and I start reversing. One of the reasons I'm reversing is not just to make it hard for people to hit me. It's because if you reverse and they launch their torpedoes at extreme range, there's a likelihood that the torpedoes are going to run out before they actually reach you. Now, going for the St. Louis, who appears to be having some issues with internet, and I'm hoping to actually citadel him.
Enemy aircraft incoming.
That's what we're doing there. We're not getting any joy in the citadels, but we're hitting him for full damage rolls. That's all good. And not one point in time have I just gone broadside to the world. I'm just not doing it. There's a boat that's pushed up on my left, and he is YOLO'd hard. I'm going to turn to him. He's a cruiser. I really want to get rid of these big guys here, and I'm after that Wakataki. The cruiser's been destroyed. There was a lot of other boats already on him, and now I'm moving forward again. Now, this might look, and it is really simple stuff. I mean, I'm not going into the in-depth tactical stuff here, but at no point in time am I just going fully broadside to the world. I'm using the terrain around me to make sure that people don't get shots into me, and I'm just reversing and going forward, as is my want, to make sure that I can output as much damage. Now, it is low tiers, so there is not a whole lot of subtlety coming in from the other side. And to be honest, you could probably do just as well at low tiers in a battleship just driving forward. But you can see that Wakataki is getting hit because he's basically gone broadside to me. So I reverse up, I'm still angling in. He's going to come and push on me now, and he wants to get broadside to me to put torpedoes in. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to angle away and just keep driving and reversing as fast as I can, because he can't get a full load of torpedoes to me. And he certainly can't get them into me completely broadside, which is what he wants to do. And to get the shot that he wants, he's got to come right in close, which is bad for him because I have an awful lot of damage to pump out. You can see he's got the desperation torps, but because I've increased my pace of my reverse, I've managed to not get hit by those. There we go. And we dodge those last ones that he threw out there. And that is more or less angling and where you want to keep it. I'm going to finish with a game here. In the Kawachi, we lose this game, I think. But again, this is a really good example I found of angling my battleship. Now, you want to be doing the same thing with cruisers and destroyers to a degree. Destroyers are a funny one because you don't have citadels. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the mechanics of your AP shells in your battleship. And you can see I'm going for the destroyers straight away. I find destroyers at lower tiers are very, very dangerous because a lot of people don't understand the mechanics of torpedoes. I call them torpedoes. The mechanics of torpedoes and the fact that if you're not very careful, you're going to get hit by them and take an awful lot of damage. So people at lower tiers, especially as everyone's learning the game, guys in destroyers are having a bit of a field day. And we managed to get him just before he ducks off around the corner there with 1,018 damage from that shell. Very, very handy. Destroyers don't have citadels. What they have is very, very thin armor. And so sometimes when you fire AP rounds at them, you can actually over-penetrate their armor. And what that means is you fire... Your shell penetrates their armor so successfully, it goes through, and before it has time to arm and explode, it goes out the other side. And that's called an over-penetration. And when you've got really, really thinly armored targets in World of Warships PC, that happens a lot because the caliber of shells for battleships is so monumentally huge. I mean, you're over 300 millimeters of caliber on the Kawachi shells, and you're only in a tier 3 battleship. You can see I'm angling up and turning away from the boat there. Lovely, absolutely love it. That means that I'm able to keep my nose in a fairly solid position. I'm not 100% broadside, and I'm still taking targets. One of the things you need to understand about this as well is sometimes you will take a risk. If you want to get all your guns out, and I do want to get all my guns out, and there's no one shooting at me, then I'll quite often start turning full broadside to get the targets off and just take the risk that someone isn't going to notice that and put shots into me. As I get in higher tiers and you get against boats with much, much bigger calibers, you don't want to be doing that because you'll just suffer tremendously. Now this South Carolina there, he's got his guns pointing off to the other side. He's definitely not shooting at me, but he's turning around slowly, so I'm going to angle up towards him. We're 3 boats each, but we are down on points because they own the middle cap. That's something that people don't realise coming from PC. If they've got more boats in there, they'll just cap the thing. Whoever started the cap seems to finish the cap. In PC, if you've got a boat in that cap, then it gets contested, and I'd like to think that at some point in time that's going to change. Now, I'm just cycling through my guns here. I am angled up enough that there are more guns than just the front 2 available. You can see I am getting shots out from 4 of my 6 possible guns, and that's counting down the bottom there. And then I cycle through to my secondaries and I get shots in as well. And you can see that angle that I'm at there is actually pretty steep, and it's tough for them to penetrate consistently. I've got both of them on me, but I'm holding my hit point pool pretty well. Because I'm not giving them any easy broadside shots, but that South Carolina's turned full broadside to me and has been punished accordingly. There's only one South Carolina left there. We're still down on points, unfortunately, even though we are a boat up. He's shooting at me. Again, I'm taking very, very minimal damage because my armor is really strongly angled towards him. He's angled up towards me though. He says not a unicorn. I think he knows what he's doing. It's just the Wakataki is going around there, and he's flooding because he's taken a torpedo, which means that he's taking damage even as we speak, and we get a hold of him. So that's really obvious. Look how little damage I've taken. I've not stopped firing, and we're going to lose this for all that, but I've not stopped firing, and I've managed to kill 3 boats. And we pump him again there. We've only lost 9,000 hit points during the whole encounter. We tanked a lot of damage at the end, but we probably should have been a lot more aggressive at the start. You can see my guns are repairing there. We're going to lose this one. Not enough time on the clock. I'd like to see them put the minutes on the gameplay up to 7 minutes as well. But that's basically some starters. A lot of battle stars I'm getting. A lot of defeats and battle stars. Not had much luck with that, but anyway, we are getting the wins on the board, the runs on the board, and those things will change over time. There we go. Only 28,000, which is reasonable but not amazing, but really good example of angling up. 4 kills. the battleships are very hard to get through those hit point pools in such small time frames. So you can be a bit more aggressive than I have been so far. Anyway, that's it. Leave your comments and your requests in the section underneath. I know it's going to be out. It's rolling. The release is rolling. It's going to be NA, then Europe, then Russia, I believe, is the order. And if you've got any questions and you've got any comments, leave them below and I'll do my very best to address them in future videos. As I've mentioned before, I'm not going to be dropping my World of Tanks Blitz content. I'm just going to work harder and do more stuff. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.